After a one-night stop in San Francisquito, we were welcomed into Bahia Don Juan the following day. It seems that most cruisers have a love-hate relationship with Don Juan. It's a welcome refuge when a tropical storm is working its way up Baja, but it's also on the warmer side, with little to no breeze, and the bees can definitely be a bother. Luckily, Chris had the foresight to find a solution before we even realized that we needed one. Because
I can almost live with the bees, but the wasps, that is where I draw the line.
I made these screens not that long ago, knowing that the Northern Sea was going to be full of bugs. So I'm glad that we have them, because the first second we got here, there was bees. And I don't love living with bees.
since we were trapped inside anyways, Chris took the opportunity to check on the engine before we embarked on the final 100 nautical miles north to Penasco.
We put about almost 100 hours on the engine since we did our refit in the cruise, and there's a few things that you need to do after 10 hours. We're a little bit tardy, but big thing is that you're supposed to retorque the head. And I'm doing that right now. It's kind of a big process because you have to take the whole valve train back off, which means you're gonna have to check the valve clearances again. So it's a process, but I'm just going through right now. I've just done 3 of the bolts and they're not tight, they're not at 60. So it definitely needs to happen. We've been having a little harder time starting the engine, and I feel like that's just due because now I know the head's not as tight as it should be, meaning probably have a little less compression than we should. So after we retorque the head and I adjust the valve clearances, I'm hoping everything fires and feels a little better. Engine's been running awesome. It's nice to just do this, know that it's done. After this, we should just do regular maintenance items. We're coming up on our first oil change, so that has to happen pretty soon. But yeah, other than that, just working on Old Blue again. There's really no point to be outside. We are completely socked in with wasps and bees outside. There's probably 150 bees on the outside of the boat right now, so I'm gonna try to get this back together as fast as possible because we do want to move on. And it looks like now our window to get to Penasco is going to be more of a motor than a sail, which is a big bummer because I did the numbers today. We have just enough fuel if I were to motor the entire way to Penasco. So I don't love that. We don't have any more Jerry's full on the deck of diesel. We do have a day tank, we call it, which is the tank underneath our bed that supplies diesel for our heater, and that is full, and that has about 10 gallons in it. So trying to get this thing back together in the next hour would be great.
Despite the bee and wasp ordeal, we still managed to enjoy a wonderful evening aboard with the Kessel crew, discussing our sail plan and chowing down on a delicious dinner.
No matter what, Sunday night is you get the shit kicked out of you.
You were vegetarian. Now they eat meat.
I made these beautiful mashed potatoes about 3 hours ago, but heater took too long.
Oh, there's so many bees outside. There's about 900 wasps all over the boat right now. Especially, of course, right where I'm sitting. That's where they all seem to want to be. Look at that. See all of them? Oh my God. Oh no. No. We're done. We're out of here. We're going up to Bahia La Gringa. Hopefully it's windier there, therefore maybe less bees. That's my idea.
Since Kessel left first, we were able to rely on them for a real-time weather report, which inspired us to double reef before leaving the bay.
Blowing like, it goes from 7 knots to 30. So use sail trim for that. It's pretty much impossible.
Things went from 0 to 100 real quick. We were on a lee shore, weaving between islands, cutting through 2 to 3 foot chop every 2 seconds. It was like our sail to Catalina that became a washing machine earlier that same season. We tacked to get away from the islands so we could have a better shot at La Gringa, which was only 6 miles north. That's when we were met with a stiff 25-knot gust, sometimes pushing into the low 30s. And then, things went sideways.
You guys were wondering what bashing in the sea is like, so we thought we'd give you a little taste.
It's a little salty out here. Oh yeah, there's 35.
Yeehaw!
Yeah, I'm hauling ass though, doing 7.5 knots upwind, 35 knots wind. But it's not fun and it's crazy.
Peter was brave enough to capture us on film coming into the anchorage where we set our hook under sail. The wind and wind chop was very reminiscent of our beloved La Cruz anchorage down south.
Well, that was intense.
La Gringa was our final anchorage in the Sea of Cortez before our haul out in Puerto Peñasco. Located in the northern edge of Bahia de Los Angeles, this anchorage is a common gathering place for the Bay of LA summer tribe. According to our research, the biggest cruiser gatherings happen during the full or new moons as the 9-foot tides cause the small estuary to flood and then pour out of the small stream, creating a natural lazy river. The name La Gringa is a bit of a mystery and dates back at least 60 years. Baja adventurist and author Graham McIntosh gives a hint in his wonderful 1988 book, Into a Desert Place. The story is that of a beautiful American widow who once lived there on the beach. Local fishermen named the area for her because she was the Gringa of the Bahia.
If everything goes right, this will be our last anchorage of the season, which is crazy. So yeah, got decent wind right now. I put the drone up to get some pretty shots, and I was able to see the channel in between Baja and Archangel, and it looks fine to me. I don't see any big rolling thunder out there. So let's take it and try to sail today. That's the plan. Sailing, not motoring. That's the butter your point.
The sail from La Gringa to Penasco marked the last leg of our season, and it was full of emotions. As the hours passed, I couldn't help but think of all the miles we put under our keel this season. We started off the year in cold and rainy Morro Bay after battling our fuel pump and the atmospheric river that brought 70-knot gusts into the harbor. Then we sailed south and rendezvoused with Kessel, who stuck with us from Ventura to Cabo, where we parted ways. Chris and I crossed the Sea of Cortez with the harrowing experience of losing our furler sheet in 30 knots of wind, but arrived safely in Chicala, miraculously on the same day as his family did by plane. Then we found our hearts and our newfound family in La Cruz de Guanacaxtli, Banderas Bay, where we spent most of our season. We did try to leave once, but we kind of blew up our engine again in the process. We rebuilt the Perkins in the anchorage and slip, then finally left for the Sea of Cortez, where we once again rendezvoused with the Kessel crew. From there, it felt like we went 100 miles per minute to get north to Penasco for our haul out. And now, we were finally in the home stretch.
Not too bad inside. Yeah, we're doing at 6.5, 7 knots, just screaming. We should have the tide actually helping us between Baja and Archangel Island. As soon as we get out of this little channel, it will flip, but it will be out in the main northern sea at that point. So I don't think the tide should be as big of a problem. It doesn't have any land masses to wrap around. So Marissa just grabbed our Fallies.
I had to dig them out.
First time I've used those in almost 4 months. Alright, well, we're just making our way out of the B of LA area. Headed north. We got about 98 miles to go until we get to Penasco. And just having a pretty mellow sail. It's really fluctuating and temperamental winds earlier. We had really high winds when we first left, and then it died, and then it came out of the complete opposite direction, and then it went back to the west, and now it's coming from about the northeast, and pretty light, only blowing about 7-8 knots, but we're able to move at about 4, which is good. Marissa's downstairs taking a nap, and I'm just enjoying our last sail on board Avocet for months. So it's a very bittersweet passage. I think her and I are both ready to be back on doing land activities, but we're also very much going to miss our home. This has been home for us for 5 years straight, and it's going to be the first time in a long time that we're not back aboard her every night. So I think, you know, everything has its compromises and its benefits. I'm sure we're going to have a good time this summer while we're off and making money and enjoying California, but it's not going to feel the same not coming home to Avocet every night. It's our last sunset at sea for a while. Next time we see the sunrise, well, we'll still be at sea, but next time we see the sunset, we'll be hopefully nestled into a slip, getting ready to put this boat up on the hard for its long dirt nap. Hopefully gravel nap. I came all this way for gravel, not dirt. Alright everybody, well it is Tuesday morning. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning and we're officially 17 miles away from Puerto Peñasco and just raised the spinnaker for the last time this season. Sad. Sailing season has come to an end. I took all the preventer low friction rings around the deck off, took the preventer lines off of the boom. Yeah, I've already started dismantling, which is sad. But nothing could beat a spinnaker on a nice, calm, flat wind day, gliding along, doing about 4 knots. It's pretty awesome to take a look at Navionics and look just how far away La Cruz is from here. We're about 760-ish miles from La Cruz. And to know that, you know, it was really all due to us that we're here because our engine completely took a shit, and I think normally people would have either had to hire someone to help get them a new engine or fix the old one, but me and Marissa can officially say we did everything. We rebuilt the engine, it got us here. And no, we didn't need to have a motor to get here, but if we were going to be doing it on our timeline, which is 3 weeks, that's how fast we got from La Cruz to here. It was about 3.5 weeks. I'd say the motor has definitely gone through its break-in period. Got to get new injectors, or at least rebuild my current ones, and other than that, Mr. Perkins is ready to live for another season. I'm going to do an oil change on it and do a freshwater flush, and then put it away for the season, and then go through the rest of the boat, all the systems that need to be decommissioned. I think today when we get into our slip, hopefully we're gonna get in no problem and find water so we can start washing the boat down. Ideally today we could have the whole boat washed, sails washed, canvas washed. We have just about 3 days to prep the boat to get ready to live on the hard. A lot of work to do on the boat to get her ready to say goodbye for 5 months. It's pretty sad that this is gonna be my last morning watch for 5 months. It's a long time. But hopefully we put away Avocet the right way and nothing happens to her while we're gone, and we'll be ready to pick her up right where we left off last year. I can officially see Rocky Point right off the bow, and we're getting close. Last Spinnaker dousels. We've officially made it to Penasco, which is crazy. Feels like it was just yesterday. Heads were deep in the bilge, rebuilding an engine that probably wasn't going to work again, and we thought all was lost, but we freaking made it. It's really hot here, hotter than Via LA. It was actually quite cold, and now it feels like we're back in Mexico. I'm sweating, so you can tell that we're in a desert.
Risk is significantly lower.
So it's pretty tight in here, for sure.
The Puerto Peñasco harbor was small and easy to navigate. We made it to the slip at noon, where a dockhand was waiting to catch our lines, but the first slip was way too small, at least by 15 feet. So Chris did the only logical thing and tossed the paddleboard into the water and paddled to another marina to see if we could fit in their slips.
Alright, I'm stepping across Penasco's Bay to the other marina because Avocet sticks out like 15 feet. So we're gonna try to find a bigger slip.
New slip acquired, and even better, we're right next to our friends on Calico Skies. So everything worked out.
Little fish jumped in and out of the water, and the sound of industrial work came to life, but I had little time to make note of our new surroundings because the work on Avocet began the moment her lines were tied off. There is a whole haul-out video, homeward bound mission, and summer shenanigans to share, but all of that is next on Sailing Avocet.
Here's Marissa, taking forever as always.
Camp Kessel.
Camp Kessel.